Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Hardcore. Now in the previous episode we built our magnificent cathedral over there, and in this episode we're going to continue that good work as we are going to give the entire village a much needed makeover. And to start things up, we'll be cleaning up the mess we made while we were building the cathedral in the last episode. We've got a bunch of chests and shulker boxes strewn about, and we need to pick this up and clean out the village area before we can get building. Now, as you might recall, we built a super smelter, or semi-super smelter in this case, as well as a creeper farm inside the cathedral, but we've added a little something else to it. I have set up a very cheap and nasty storage area over here, just basically plonked down a few chests, and I have transferred everything that I've collected throughout the game in most of these chests. There's still a few things left in my home, but most of the stuff is right here. And I think I've got one more chest left over in the huts in the corner over there, but other than that I've collected all of the chests and shulker boxes that I've filled with a bunch of nonsense over time, and now that everything's cleaned up I can finally start breaking down what I have created. And I'm going to start with a well over here because it's a fire sale. Everything has to go. So let's get this well out of the way and then we'll get started on the other buildings. And this is quite interesting. Under the well we have another well, and I have no idea why it spawned two wells just out of sync with each other, but this is quite an interesting find. However, it's got to go, so I'm just going to get rid of the water over here. Let's get our mushroom blocks back, and I missed one right there in the corner, so let's plug that up, and then we'll get rid of the second well as well. And once that's done, we can turn our attention to the buildings. And I'm going to start right over here, just picking up some of the random stuff that's been left behind. All of this has got to be broken down, and although I've spent a lot of time planning and building these, and initially I was quite pleased with the results, I have grown to dislike it intensely, which means it no longer fits the aesthetic I have in mind, it no longer serves any purpose, and I've got to break down everything I have created. However, that will give me a chance to implement the fresh new look I have in mind, so let's start the destruction. And we almost have a clean slate, just a few more shulker boxes laying around, but it's time to start doing a bit of terraforming. So we're going to start right over here, and then we're going to carve out the landscape, tailoring the terrain in order to receive the brand new village. So first things first, we'll raise what needs to be raised, lower what needs to be lowered, and then we'll make way for some roads, some buildings, and a bit of nature. And taking a look from up here, it's clear that there is a ton of work to be done. We need to hide that villager breeder, we need to build up the terrain at the back of the mountain there, and finally we need to refine this coastline. So let's get busy. First things first, we're going to take some dirt away from the area on the right and then use that dirt to build out the section at the top, creating a platform for a housing unit or perhaps a store of some sort where we can safely keep and trade with the villagers. Then at the front we're going to build out the coastline a little bit to make way for a road that can lead up to the back section. And then we'll tackle the area to the right where we're going to be building the first house. And of course, the villager breeder needs to be covered up. Not because there's anything untowards happening down there, of course, but just to keep it out of sight and out of mind. And with that done, we'll get to work on finishing the back platform and start making way for some roads. And now that we have a better idea of what the layout is going to be, we can start putting the final touches on the areas we're going to be building on. And with the terraforming almost complete, we'll start adding in some retaining walls to all the different areas and terraces. We'll start at the back and work our way around, all around the waterfront, but first we'll create some space for the roads as well as our river that's going to be running from the back into the lake. And finally, the terraforming is done, which means it's time to start installing the roads. Now I've played around with a few variations in my creative world, and finally I've decided that I'm going to be using some bricks and some granite, which always gives a beautiful upscale look to any road. But there's one problem. As you can see, I am fresh out of bricks, which means it's time to visit the Lush Cave. Now I've flown past this particular rock formation a few times, and I'm always amazed at how much it looks like a church tower with a big clock on it, but that's not why we're here. We are here for the Lush Cave right behind it. And inside we're going to be digging out just a few metric tons of clay. Now fortunately I haven't done much clay gathering around here, so we've still got plenty on offer. So with trusty shovel in hand, let's get ourselves a few shulker boxes full of clay balls. I think 1 or 2 ought to do it, but who knows, maybe we'll grab just a little bit more. And there we go, we have gathered all the clay we need, so it's time to head back home and get these puppies in the semi-super smelter. And our clay is cooking beautifully, which means it's time to build some roads. And as you can see, we finally finished installing all of the roads, as well as our river, some bridges going over the river, and the floor plans for all of the houses that we're going to build. We've also added in some railings, just a little bit of detailing, 1 or 2 lamps to light the streets, and I think we are just about ready to get started on building all of the houses for the brand new village. So let's fly down there and let's get busy building the first of 5 houses that we're going to be building today. And our first house is complete. I've added in a little bit of flowers just to give it a little bit more life. And I must say, I think it is looking absolutely gorgeous. We've got a little porch roof over there made out of campfires. We've got a custom tree over here. And from every angle, it is looking absolutely beautiful. So With one down, we have got 4 more to go, and this wasn't the biggest one of the lot, but it wasn't the smallest either. So we've got a few more of various sizes, and I must say I really do love the tone that this has set for the village. And finally, the first section of the village is complete. As you can see, I've added in a road coming over this way where I'm going to make the farming sector, and I've added in a little park complete with a few custom trees and a pond because the lake doesn't have enough water already. And we've added in a ton of bushes, a ton of flowers, and just look at it. Absolutely stunning. I've also done a little bit of work on the cathedral itself. As you can see, I've replaced the deep slate pillars with some spruce and added in a bit of deep slate slabs. But just walking over in this direction, all the custom trees that I've added in here is looking absolutely gorgeous. It gives the entire town a lively vibe and ties it together beautifully. And I think the river that runs through the middle was a beautiful touch. We've also got a dock over here where the people can have some boats which they can use to go boating on the lake. And of course, we've got some more custom trees up here. We've got some ropes with banners going over the top. And over here, we have the Dino and Sniffer Inn, which is the tavern, of course. So up top here, we've got the big housing units. And I think everything is looking absolutely gorgeous. There's a lot of detail around and there's a lot of life throughout the entire town. Now, the one thing that you might notice is not present is villagers. And that is because I spent a few minutes AFK to try and gather some gunpowder. And unfortunately, my villagers had a nasty run-in with a zombie. However, there are still plenty of villagers left down in the villager breeder, and in the next episode, we will get some of those guys up here and teach them to be valuable members of society. However, this section of the village is now complete, and we'll be doing some more expansions in future episodes, but that'll involve taking down half a mountain, filling up another valley, and I have many more plans. And just taking a look at it with some shaders on, it is looking absolutely gorgeous. I really do love this new look of the village, and I'm so glad that this is the direction that I went with. Yes, I spent a lot of time and effort on the previous attempt with the little huts going up the side of the mountain, but just looking at this, it was worth tearing them down and starting over again. But that, ladies and gents, is all we have time for today. I really do hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave a like if you think the new town is looking absolutely gorgeous. And if you liked it, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But this is Fungusaurus Rex saying, until next time, beautiful people, stay awesome. Bye bye.